A while ago, my wife and I bought a tent trailer, and it had a nice little roof rack on it. But we do a lot of used to do a lot of camping where there is no campground. We just drive out into the desert and pick up a spot and do it. So I got to add a couple solar panels to the tent trailer, and since it had the roof rack on there, these are a couple of the brackets I made 4 brackets. They're all as cast, as you can see, and I'd talked before about different ways you can build the same pattern. So I'm going to show you the way I did it and the reasons why I did it that way, and the options again as 2 different ways you could accomplish the same goal. It all comes down to your needs and what the foundry wants. So let's take a look at the pattern I built, and then we'll get into discussing the other things. So here's the pattern. I made it upright. I use stock flask sizes, so I use a cast aluminum flask on this one. I've got 2 sizes, actually 3 sizes, and I got patterns to make a 4th size, which would be a little longer than this one. It would be a 9 by 10. This is 7 by 9, I believe. Yeah, so we got 7 by 8. So need possibly one bigger one. I don't know how much casting I'm going to do in the future, but more about building the patterns and the different ways you can do it. So you take a look at this piece first. As you can see, I molded it upright like this. It could also have been laid down like that with a parting line either right here in the center of that or right here. The advantage of doing it that way is this wall and this wall would be parallel. I would have draft here, but I would have to have draft along this surface coming out like so. I didn't like that option because it puts a parting line right where it's visible. This way I eliminated the parting line. You won't see it on the casting at all when I'm finished with it. This area and this area have to be machined anyway. It doesn't have to be if I parted it this way, so that's one option. But I also end up with a parting line on this piece right down here. And on this piece, if I parted it same way down through here, I no longer have the witness here for where I drill and tap my holes to hold these 2 pieces together. They fit like so. And I didn't really like that. I don't like parting lines on my castings if I can get away with it. So I designed it like this to set up like so. And doing it that way, I can put my witness in here. I still got to machine this area. I do have a skin cut I have to take out of here anyway. The option of parting it this way is I got to make a core for this if I want it perpendicular to the parting line. And I don't like making cores unless I have to. Just my own personal preference. So rather than making a core for it, and this is a template for the flask I got. Also, if I start putting it on here like so, I like to keep enough sand here. I like at least 7/8 of sand from the casting to the edge of the flask for this size flask. The down sprue would go here. I like 1.25 between the center of the sprue to the edge of the flask. That would be really crowding it on this one. I also have a bigger one that's 7 by 9, which would help a little bit, but I also need, then I got a riser here and here I got to put on it. So I'd need to put a riser here and here and run the gate through. And I don't like that either. So my best option, I figured, was doing it this way. So let's take a look at the pattern. And now I got the pattern. This is not core print here. This is an offset parting line. So on the back side, I got a pocket in here that takes place of the core. And what I did there is, this is since these are all 3D printed patterns, this piece here is identical to this one. But I made another one, and as you can see, this is shorter, so that's clearance on the ends. Everything else is the same diameter. And I just did what I call a hatchet job to chop this out. Didn't matter what it looked like, as long as I got it to the depth I needed. And then I squeezed this piece in to there with Bondo. It doesn't fit all the way now because I got a radius here in the corners. This one doesn't have a radius, so it fit in there, and I Bondoed it in place. And to get it lined up so it would fit, so I basically, you can maybe see them, I transferred these lines all the way around to this side, and same thing with the ends here. I transferred this line all the way around to mark this location here. And that works. It's not the best way. If I was doing this for an industry, I would be a lot more accurate on it, but it did fit, so everything works. Gating is here. I didn't need any risers on this. I could have put them on there, but it would be a waste of time. As you can see, I get a little bit of shrinkage here and a little bit in there. And I got that on both sides. This one's a little bit more there and there. But when I bolt these together like so, I'll bore this circle out so it fits over the roof rack on the trailer. And once I do that, I will set these up and take a machine cut off of here and here, and these won't even be noticeable anymore. And that's what I did. I will get into actually molding them a little later. I'm sure you've all seen people molding things on YouTube a lot. My gating is a bit different than what a lot of people are using now. This works just as well. I don't have any porosity or anything in the casting, and it works. Part of the reason it works is I bring the runner beyond the end gate. So when I pour the metal in, it's going to come down, push any debris into the end of this runner, and then it's going to backfill into this. So it keeps the crud out of it to the most part, but 90% of the time it does a really good job. Square basin is there. It cuts down on the amount of turbulence, where if you have a circular basin in there, it's going to swirl on you and possibly cause some erosion if you don't have good adhesion in your sand. And I like putting things on a match plate, and I also run a little tiny 16th fillet around this whole thing. I either use what they call a wood putty, wood patch, or I'll use Bondo. Both works, and just smear it on there, and you're good to go. I don't have leather fillets. I don't need them, and I'm not spending the money on them. So that's the way I do things for the pattern. It eliminates the core box, makes things nice and easy. It gives me a couple of good witnesses in there to drill and tap holes when I mate these things up. And I wanted it mounted on a match plate because I have 4 sets that I had to make, and doing them individually, they're not going to be consistent in the way they look. These I got all 4 of them look just the same, and they all work and they all go together. I did notice that this one has a little shrinkage in here, right there. You can see it there and in here, but there's no shrinkage here. This was on the gate side, so I'm not sure why that showed up there. It almost looks more like it's a sand wash. Since this is in the drag, it could have been. So I don't think it's shrinkage. It doesn't look like shrinkage. So anyway, that's the way I do things. I'll show you the molding video next if you want to look at it. And that's about it. There's a lot of different ways you can build the same pattern. You just got to decide what is best for your needs, or if you're doing it for somebody else, what's best for their needs. And that'll do it. Talk to you later.